Welcome TechBrothersIT. In this video, we are going to learn about CTAS. So create table as is a powerful feature that creates a new table based on the results of a select statement. It is often used for data transformation, creating aggregate tables, or persisting query results. So make sure you are connected to your dedicated SQL pool database. So right here, if you go to this query that I have open, I'm connected to the dedicated SQL pool right there, and that name is a TechDB. There are different ways to open the SQL query. If you are let's say in the develop, and then you will go click right here and say new SQL script and paste your SQL script here as well. Now if you are under the data, so if you click here, it doesn't let you create this direct SQL query here, but what you can do, you can go to the any tables and then right here and say new SQL script and then a SQL top 100 rows. Now you can just simply delete, and whatever you want to write you can start writing. Okay, let's go to the script again and take a look. What I'm doing here, I'm creating actually some sample tables here. Then we will be performing a lot of scenarios that will help you to understand how to use CTAS, create table as. So here I'm creating this table called customer underscore CSV that has customer ID, first name, last name, and then we are using distribution equal to round robin, and then we are going to insert some data here. So the table is already existing there. We can go ahead and drop this table, and then we will create a new one. Okay, let's refresh, and now that table is gone. Now what we are going to do, we are going to select this part of the code and execute. It is going to create a new table for us and then insert the data. If you want to see the data in this table, we can simply run this select statement from that table, and now we can see the data. Okay, so I have customer ID, first name and last name. Same way, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create two more tables called DBOFact CSV, and here I'm creating this with the hash distribution, and I'm using the product ID, and then we are inserting some data in this one as well. So let's select this table. I could have done only on one table, but I just want to create multiple scenarios, and that's the reason I am spending more time on creating tables and all that. Okay, so this was our customer, and this I'm going to make it a little small so it will be easy for me. Okay, then once we create this, I will increase the size. So here is the definition for that table. Then we have insert, and then we have select records here, and you can see that I have sale ID, product ID, quantity, sale date, and all that. To perform different demos, I need different type of data. That's why I'm creating these tables. And here is a product info Parquet. So let's say you have loaded the data from Parquet file to this table, and then we will be using that one. So to just simulate that, I have also created this table, and then we will go from there. So here we are creating our table called product info, and then we are selecting the data, and you can see that I have product ID, product name, category, and price. That's great. Now we have three tables already. They are ready for us, and now we are going to create our first object. And in this scenario, what we are doing, creating a new table with the subset of columns for all the rows. So think about a scenario where you have this DBO customer name, and that's we are checking if this table exists. Otherwise we are going to go ahead and create it. So we will drop if it does exist, and then we are creating as. So create table DBO dim customer name, and then with the distribution round robin, and then you have this as keyword here, and here is our statement. So remember, we are selecting customer ID, first name, last name from customer CSV. In this customer CSV, we have more columns, but we are only interested to create a new table with these three columns. That's why I'm selecting only these three columns. So you have the definition or actually the name of your column. So create table DBO dim customer, and then with your distribution, whatever the distribution you want. If you want to change from the original, maybe this customer table CSV was created maybe with the hash distribution, and you want to change to the round robin, that's possible. So you can choose the which you want, and then you have as keyword, and then you have select statement. So we are going to go ahead and execute this script right there, and then select the data. So if I execute, it's going to create my new table called DBO customer name, and then insert the record for customer ID, first name and last name columns. So if I will go ahead and take a look, now you can see that I have customer ID, first name and last name. So this is one of the scenario where you will be selecting only few columns from one table and you want to create a new table. Let's take another scenario where you want to create a new table with the aggregate data. That's possible as well. So you are saying we are checking total sales by product here, and then if this table does exist, we are going to drop it, and then what we are doing is create table DBO total sales by product, and then with distribution hash. So and what we are doing, we are using this algorithm on the product ID, and here our query select product ID sum of quantity as a total quantity sold from the sales factor CSV file table, and then we are grouping by product ID. So if I run this query, and you will be able to see the data, and I have shown you we have a lot more columns in the sales factor underscore CSV, but we are interested to just create this aggregated output and then insert into another table. So with the product ID, we want to see how many items are sold, so we can take a look right there. So this we are creating a new table called total sales by product, and this is our aggregated query. So you have a create table name, then with the distribution, and you can also provide the index and all that. I will show you in the last example as well, where I added the index, and then you will say as and your select query. So simple is that. You can go ahead and execute, and here if you want to select the data at the same time, we can select the data as well. So it is going to create our new table total sales by product, then it is selecting the data from the table once it's loaded the data. So you can see that now we have loaded data. And if I will show you on the side also, if you go to refresh, you are gonna see those tables right there. So all the tables we are creating right here, total sale by product, you can see right there, these are the list of the columns. So it has the only product ID and total quantity sold. So you can see right there as well. So I just hide this one as we have more space to work with our queries here. Now if you want to create a new table with the filter data, that's possible, and these are all different scenarios we will be using in real time. So you have this select query from the customer CSV, where you are only interested in the customer IDs 1 and 3. So if you run this one, it's going to show you only the customer who has ID 1 and 3. So you can see that we have ID 1 and the first name and last name, and then that's a good idea, because often we have to filter the records and we want to create maybe subset of those tables. And here I am creating the table called high value customers, and with distribution replicate, and then I'm saying as, then select. So you can simply execute this. It's going to create our table high value customers, and then we can select the data from high value customers. Let's execute that, and now we can see the data. It is has data for customer ID 1 and 3, as we have used a filter here or where clause to filter the record according to the customer ID. Now creating a new table with data type, casting and renaming. So that's also important. Often we have to cast the data due to some reason. Maybe in the new table we want to insert according to some specific data format. So here in this scenario, if you see that I'm creating a table called product pricing with distribution hash on product ID, and then I have select query, then product ID I gave a new name. Instead of saying product ID, I gave a product ID underscore new. That's the name I would like to have in this table. And then I have product ID as name, then category, and then casting price as a decimal 12,4. So as a price adjusted. So from product parquet file, that's the table I have. So if I will go ahead and execute this, now the select query is going to create the required result according to the definition, such as the product ID new. So you can see the name column here, and also you can see the price is formatted as the way we wanted. So we can change. Once we have that, then we can insert into our newly table. So this table is called product pricing. So if I execute this one, it is this output of this select query is inserted into this table, and we can take a look on the data if we want. So right there, So did not get created because maybe there was error, we even didn't take a look. So let's execute that again, and there is a query completed with errors. So that's good idea. We want to see that say not a valid column reference product ID does not exist. So here if I will go ahead and execute this, we have a product ID new. So you see that this is the output that select is creating is called the product ID new, and I was creating this distribution on the product ID. So I have to do underscore new here. That's good actually catch. So we can work on different things. Now it should be completed successfully, and now we can run that because that column did not exist. How I could create that the distribution. So that's why. Now let's go to the another one, and here we are creating this customer sales, and in this case creating a new table from a join of two tables. That's also possible. So you are creating table name customer sales with distribution customer ID, and hash algorithm is applied on that column. And here what we are doing, I'm joining two table customer and then a sales factor. So if I run this query, I can take a look on the data first, and then we can simply run the whole thing together to insert the data. So you can see that we have customer ID, first name, last name, sales and everything. So that's great, and we can simply select everything as is. So create table DBO customer sale with our distribution as, and then we can execute. I could simply leave you with the just definition and get it done, but this is a good scenarios because if you're coming first time to the SQL and all that, so at least you are getting introduced to different scenarios of writing SQL. So you can see that now this has inserted the data depending upon the joining of two tables, and we have inserted into the table. Now here specifying a different schema for a new table. So if you see that we are inserting everything in DBO schema, but sometime maybe you want to create a new schema. So schema is a logical container in which you can create the objects such as table, store, procedure and all that, and they can have the same name because they will be differentiated with the schema name. So let's say I have DBO customer, then I can have sales customer table as well, because they will be DBO and sales are the schema, they are the logical containers for those tables. Now here if I'm creating a schema maybe called staging, and I'm going to go ahead and create this schema. And now how I will see the schemas. So if I will go to the schemas here, and I can see the schema right here. So this is my staging schema. Now what I want to do, if there is a table called staging product, if they exist, I'm going to drop them, but I know that there is no table because we just created the schema. So we are creating this table called staging products with distribution round robin. And then we are selecting product ID, product name, category, price and all that from DBO schema, and table name is product info parquet, and then where category is the electronics. So if we run this query, it's going to give me the records and where our category is electronics. So we are going to get all those records right here. Now we are going to insert this into new table with schema called staging. So let's execute this, and now it has inserted the records. So just when you select the data from that table, you have to say schema name here. So select star from DBO dot customer, select star from staging data. So schema comes first before the table. So let's execute that, and we will be able to see the data. So see right there, now this data is coming from staging products. Now if you want to create a table with specific data type that differs from the source, that's also possible. You will say create table, whatever the name of the table, with distribution, let's say hash in this case, and product ID. And here also I have added the clustered column store index. So I was telling you, you don't just have to only have distribution, you also can add the index as well. So here I'm just going with the clustered column store index on the newly table, and then I'm selecting the column such as sale ID as a big integer. So think about a scenario where you have this sales fact table, and then you are inserting a record in this table, and sale ID you have gone to the level there is no more value you can insert. It was integer, and now you want to convert to another table where you will given this or converting to the big integer, so you can insert more data. So you're casting this sale ID as a big integer as a sale ID big int, and product ID is quantity and all that. So you are selecting these columns, and then you are inserting into new table called the sales fact big int ID. So if you go ahead and insert that, it's going to be just fine. And now we can select the data from that table, so you can see the table output. So you can see right there, sales big sale ID big integer. So this is how you will be using a create table as and I have shown you a lot of scenarios, and I think so it's very clear in which scenarios you can use this create table as. It is very powerful, and I thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel. I will put this code in the description so you can use from there. I will see you guys in the next video.